Our next submitter is Justin Adams, and his submission is on page 19.
Thank you. I suspect that from time to time we will have to do that throughout the day with the spots. That's fine. Good morning, Justin. Nice to see you here this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Chair, Your Worship, councillors. Democracy has been hard fought by our ancestors over generations, some through warfare and others through the pen. For the record, you will notice the pen in my hand. Democracy has the principle of one person, one vote, giving everyone or every person equal representation. So in using the last local election as a baseline, one person, one vote of 10 parts. Under thorough analysis of the current representation review proposal, I am reminded again of Council's motto, Tato Tato, we together, which inherently implies equality for all within the Rotorua Lakes District. The proposal itself states, and I quote, "The introduction of a mixed model aims to restore equity as best it can," end quote. Council also stated to the Local Government Commission in 2016, quote, the at-large system allows citizens to maximise their votes, provides an overview of the district's developmental issues, and is considered to be the fairest way to represent a district with approximately 80% of its community located in the same geographical space, end quote. In this case, with the introduction of Maori wards and the option directed at council staff, this proposal will unfortunately disenfranchise all eligible voters, with those on the Maori electoral roll impacted significantly more. There are always unintended consequences to any actions taken in haste. These hasty actions may be morally and ethically right, but when they are taken in haste, critical consequences of these actions can be missed and left unresolved or unaddressed. At the last local government election, those on the Maori roll were entitled to vote for 10 candidates at large. By making the changes proposed, they will only be entitled to vote for 2 in the Maori ward and 4 at large, for a total of 6 parts of a vote. That is an overall reduction in voting power of 40%, or almost half. When you apply one person, one vote, this proposal changes that for those on the Maori electoral roll to one person, 6/10 of a vote. Then, when we compare it to the current proposal, those on the Maori roll get to vote for 6 candidates, whereas those on the general roll get to vote for 8. That constitutes a breach of Article 25B of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, of which New Zealand has been a signatory since 1968. Article 25B states to vote and to be elected at genuine periodic elections, which shall be by universal and equal suffrage and shall be held by secret ballot, guaranteeing the free expression of the will of the electors. For clarity, universal suffrage is the right to vote. That is not in doubt here. Equal suffrage is each voter having the same number of votes. This proposal does not offer those on the Maori roll equal suffrage when measured against your proposal or based off the last election. Which in turn means this proposal is in breach of Article 21(3) of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which states, "The will of the people shall be the basis of the authority of government. This will shall be expressed in periodic and genuine elections, which shall be by universal and equal suffrage and shall be held by secret vote or by equivalent free voting procedures." Unfortunately, when you compare the voting power of those on the Maori roll and those on the general roll, those on the Maori roll are disenfranchised and do not receive equal suffrage with those on the general roll in this proposal. That in and of itself is an unacceptable outcome, but it gets worse. It literally does the opposite of the intention for the introduction of Maori wards. It removes equal suffrage for those Maori and is reduced further than it was prior to the change. Those on the general roll are disenfranchised as well, although by less. General roll voters will not be able to vote for the 2 Maori wards, reducing their voting power by 20%. One person, 8/10 of a vote. I implore you to reject the continuation of giving to Maori with one hand and taking away with the other. I would also like to bring to your attention to advice from Simpson Gresham, which states Maori wards exist in addition to and overlap with the general wards. Council's proposal as written does not add Maori wards, it includes them. Taking this advice into account, the total number of councillors in your proposal, in my opinion, should be 13. So, in reference to my written submission, I propose that the representation proposal be amended to provide equal suffrage as follows. 1 Maori ward consisting of 3 seats, 1 general ward consisting of 3 seats, 1 at-large ward consisting of 7 seats, 1 mayor seat, along with the caveat that the deputy mayor position being elected as the councillor with the highest vote count. Council's proposal has each councillor representing 7,730 local residents. My proposed amendment means each councillor represents approximately 5,950 local residents. When it comes to the lakes and rural boards, I am not fully informed on them, nor am I a resident in those areas, so I have chosen to allow other submitters more familiar with them to comment. I would like to point out, however, that in a properly functioning democracy, the community boards would be unnecessary. The Local Government Commission ruled against Rotorua Lakes Council's proposal last representation review, and if you decide to go ahead with your proposal as written, they will again, meaning the people of Rotorua and Council will be dictated to on the model which will be followed. In closing, despite doing extensive research and analysis, I am unable to relieve myself of a fear or gut feeling that instead of the people of Rotorua deciding on representation, Rotorua Lakes Council's unspoken intention is for the Local Government Commission to decide on the representation model. Why else would an option, which will undoubtedly be appealed, be proposed? In conclusion, I'll leave you with 2 words: plausible deniability. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So we've got a couple of minutes, councillors, if you'd like to raise a question. Thank you. Councillor Maxwell.
Thanks very much, Jared, for your presentation, and I found it, the alternative very interesting, and thanks for explaining that. But I'll just touch on the one you added at the bottom there. Wouldn't that seem unfair that the deputy at the moment is chosen by all those councillors elected? But here in your proposal, it would be the highest vote count. Well, straight away we know it won't come from the Maori ward, because the figures that come in from there will be much lower. So can you briefly just give us a bit more on where you think it would come from?
I don't necessarily think it won't come from the Maori ward specifically, because we just don't know. It's more on the case that my belief is that the deputy mayor should be one with the highest vote count, full stop. And I understand the fact that it may not come from the Maori ward, but Rotorua has never had a problem with voting for different ethnicities. History shows that. We don't have to relitigate it here. Again, that's democracy too, the majority rule ultimately. My proposal here simply just matches what has been voted on or is existing law. So I'm just trying to make the puzzle fit.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for presenting this morning. Thank you.